All right, welcome back. So tonight we're going to do a review of a pretty controversial cigar. Probably the most famous or pricey cigar that you can find in Cuba, the most sought after. It is the Cohiba Behike, and even more rare is the version that I have. So before we get into that, let's do the obligatory watch check. It's not going to cooperate, is it? My sleeve. So this is a Seiko, the Premier automatic, very unique looking band. Seiko makes fantastic watches. Looks great. And a boot check. So this might be the only time you see these boots. These are Lucchese, and they are alligator belly. They're vintage, hardly ever worn. Great shape, but they're just too damn tight on my feet. So I think I need to sell them because not to wear, not to break in, and they're just too tight. So I'll wear them for tonight. But anyway, so what I have here, I did a whole video on this Compay Segundo version of Behikes. And if you want to see that video, check it out. But I didn't smoke one. And so what I'm going to do is smoke one because I was going through the humidor. And here's the humidor that it came with. And I'll tell you the story once I light her up. But it looked like the cigars in here were getting a fair amount of plume. So I thought I'll smoke it. So you can see it's got a little reservoir there, container for distilled water. See these beautiful cigars. These are the Behikes, and you can see some of them. Maybe you can see kind of that. See the cigar plume on there. And I've got some extra that I'll replace them with. Get these lined up in there. So I'm just going to smoke the one that's got a lot of plume on it and tell you what I think about it. And as I said, it's a little controversial because there's a question about, are they real? Are they what they purport to be? I can tell you that I got them from Havana. I went to Havana myself. I'll tell you the story how I got them. You know, you can judge for yourself whether or not. Now, here's another. This is a 20th anniversario of San Cristobal. So I may get to those. That's a teaser down the road. So Liza's not impressed. She's just kind of hanging out. So let's light up one of these, cut it, smell it, and go through what we think about, again, these beautiful Cohiba Behikes. So here we have it. This is the one with the most plume. You can see that towards the top. No harm in smoking those. That's just part of the oil that is coming out as it is aging and forming that. It actually generally means it's going to be a pretty good cigar. So you can see the label. Now, one thing that is missing, typically on a Behike label, you're going to see sort of the Cohiba insignia around those two gold rings, top and bottom. Don't have that here. So that draws into question the authenticity of it right away. But as I said, I went to Cuba and got these. So I know they're Cuban. Now, in some of my other videos, as we'll find out if that plume will hurt me or not, I just took a big, a big taste of that. Smells kind of sweet, nice aroma to it. Let's just get a short little cut here. Let's light it gently, just kind of toast the end, and we'll talk about it. So, where did I get this Behike? This whole box of them with this Compay Segundo Humidor. Now, I'll tell you, this Humidor, I haven't been able to find anything online about it. I've never seen another one. So, obviously it's from Cuba because I was in Cuba when I got it. I see some limited edition humidors, Monte Cristo, Compay Segundo, but I don't see any Behike. So I don't know. Either I got a one-off somewhere or I got a treasure chest. But I don't know. If it's a treasure chest and you want it, let me know. I might be willing to part with it. So let's light this up and see. Get it evenly toasted. We'll do the 3 puff test. In the 3rd puff, you ought to get a perfect draw. Good smoke coming out. I did. Got a very good flavor. Not real strong. I think this is the 56 ring gauge, which is hard to find. And it's, if that's the case, it's one of the milder ones. Good flavor. I don't know if it's sort of a knock you out type of flavor that you might expect from such a highly priced cigar. But again, so let me show you what, so this presentation, I may not have shown it before, I don't know. So it came in this box, Compay Segundo, kind of a leathery type of box. Also came in its own wrap. So if it is a one-off, they spend a lot of time and attention to the detail of it. And again, it's got his hat there, even on the reservoir for the humidification device. Nothing really on the bottom. So how did I come to get this? Well, a friend of mine in Cuba, who is basically my tour guide, he's become a good friend. I've went to Cuba several times, visited with him, and he asked if I could bring him some fairly expensive sunglasses. And he's a fisherman, couldn't get good sunglasses in Cuba, and so these were a couple $100 in the States. And he said he would be happy to make a trade, and he'd get something really nice for me in return. So lo and behold, this is what he got. He got this Compay Segundo Humidor with the Behike 56s in it. I also got some other Behikes while I was there. As I said, the label typically, from what I can tell, is there's an embossed Cohiba insignia on the gold rings around the label, and this doesn't have that. None of them do. Either do my other Behikes. Now I have another Cohiba that has that. So Maybe the Behikes don't have it. I think they are supposed to. These don't. So it does cause me to question whether or not these are legitimate Behikes. Nonetheless, I know they're from Cuba because I obviously got them there. So the taste is good, but you know, I wouldn't say it's blow me away good. I've had some other Cohibas that I actually like better. So, you know, is it real? I don't know. So in looking through, the Behike is supposed to be made of these top leaves from they call Medio Tiempo plant, rare leaves. You know, it's supposed to be creamy, smooth, notes of pepper and spice. I don't really get the pepper and spice. And they claim this is the most premium cigar in the world. Well, you know, again, I don't know. Honestly, I had some Behikes, purported to be Behikes in Cuba, without the label that one of my guides got me from the factory. And I did do a tour of the Cohiba factory, and so I know he's got access to it. Does that mean it's real? Who knows? But honestly, that cigar without the label, which he said was a Behike, tastes better than this. This one is not bad, but I'm not getting a lot of flavor. So online, the review is that the first third of it, you'll get an earthy, cedary flavor, hint of spice, draw may be a bit tight. So I think that's pretty true, although I'm not getting maybe there's a hint of spice. So the second third is supposed to become a little more sugary and sweet. Cocoa, creaminess, we'll see. I'm not quite there. So price-wise, you know, these things are crazy in price, right? So, and they're certainly well counterfeited, so God only knows if you get a real one, right? This website, Swiss Cuban Cigars, I'm just looking at that, has a box of 10 going for $1,040. So, just over $100 a stick. You know, again, you wonder if that's even real, because I believe that they're even more than that in the La Casa del Habano stores, from what I recall. You know, if you can find them. They're very difficult to find even in Cuba. I think you can find them probably in China and maybe some of the La Casa del Habanos throughout the world, but very difficult to find them actually in Cuba. But I did remember seeing some there, and I forget where. It was one of the shops, the La Casa del Habanos. So Cuban Luz has these, a box of 10, out of stock, and his price was $4,495. So that's more akin to the price that I've seen. So really about $450 a stick. Again, getting to be a little more flavor as I go through it. So, Cigar Aficionado actually does a entire article back in 2018, how to spot a fake Cohiba Behike. So obviously the fakes are abundant for aficionado to actually do a whole article on it. So they talk about what to look for in the label. So I'm particularly interested in seeing what they say number 3 here. Let's see. So this one talks about the price being more than $400 a cigar. But the label itself, I guess, is something that you can also find a lot of hints from. So the first one is the holographic Teano Indian head. So it says, so that's item number 1 that they point out. So the Indian head, if I have to get my light, but it says that front and center on the band is a holographic image of the famous Teano Indian head. Look closer and you'll see that there's a smaller head within the larger. The head within the head effect is telling sign that the band is authentic. So there is a head within the head. I can see that. I don't have great light in here, but I think I can still see it. So I definitely see the head within the head there on it as I put the light on it. All right, so it passes that test. Holographic element. So holograms of the word Cuba and Teano and the Teano Indian head repeat on the gilded top edge of the band. So that's item number 2. So that is what's missing here, I believe. I don't see that. That top gold edge, the word Cuba in the Indian head, that is not on the top of this band that I can see. So that may exit out. Unfortunately. So 9 rows of white squares in a checkered pattern run from the gilded top edge to the top of the word Behike. Important to note that the squares are full, do not get cut off in either top or bottom row. So let's see what they mean here. Nine rows of white squares, checkered pattern from the top of the word Behike gilded top to the edge to the top of the word Behike. So is there 9 there? And important to note, squares are full and do not get cut off either the top or bottom row. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it looks like that's on there. Okay. Holographic Teano Indian head, logos and boxes containing the words Behike and Cohiba repeat in the gold foil to create a checkerboard pattern. And so where is that? Oh, that's the checkerboard. All right, well, that's there. They have that. And then the last piece on the band famous Cohiba on the white background with a square gold border is embossed with proper gilding. However, it is non-holographic embossed lettering. I don't see where that's listed. So generally speaking, it's a taste test, right? I don't know. There's so many of these fakes there. Again, if I'd have got it in the States, I'd say for sure, I don't know. It's a decent cigar. It's a little bit mild, too mild for my liking. Like I said, I had some others without the label that I thought were actually better. May have been legit. But I don't think those were 56. Those were like 54s maybe, or 52. So, hard to say. You know, decent cigar, but a little underwhelming, I would say. So maybe that's the telltale sign that it's not what it purports to be. I mean, I'd like to go to Cuba and get one from the La Casa de Habanos, but who knows? Who knows if that's even real? As I mentioned in another video about real or fake and the whole idea of the secondary market, the black market in Cuba, you know, everybody needs to make money over there because they can't make enough in their legitimate jobs. So even the legitimate cigar shops, the La Casa de Habanos, I think, unless you get an unopened sealed box that has all the markings, you just don't know if you're getting the legitimate one. And so I guess the bottom line is don't worry about it too much. Enjoy it if it's a good cigar. This certainly is a good taste, but, you know, I don't know, you know, again, that it's like the greatest cigar in the world. Certainly not. So, as Aficionado said, you know, the prices from Habanos SA, single Behike, can now cost $300 in Cuba. So that's quite astonishing, really, price-wise. You know, if you go, you know, in Canada or whatever, it's even more. So, you know, I don't know. It's getting a little more strength to it as I get through. I guess the real question then becomes sometimes is if you're smoking a illegitimate one, what are you smoking, right? Is it crap? Hopefully not. It looks like it's burning fine. I think it's rolled well. Construction is good. So I don't have an issue. It's just, it's not incredibly flavorful. That's all. So I've gone through rearranging the humidor. And you know, I'm going to smoke one of these because, again, there was getting some plume. Let's see what I think. I have one to replace it. I'll do that. And I'll put them back away. And some point, who knows? We'll see. I've got this rare Compay Segundo, who's this famous Cuban musician. I got this humidor. And I'll hang on to it. So, anyway, I hope you found it interesting, and we'll see you soon. Good night, Liza.